Happy Friday, wonderful ladies. I just wanted to record this quick class, only about 10 minutes or so, of some movement that can be helpful to do in the morning when you just wake up, and as well as just before going to bed. I had shared with some of you before in the past how important it is to have our legs elevated, whether it's in the evening or doing some movements as we wake up to boost the movement of our lymph, to boost the lymphatic system. Different reasons why it's so good. Boosts our immune system. If you are right now in a southern hemisphere as me, when it starts to get hotter, we start to perhaps maybe get a little bit more water retention, but in saying that, it works equally well in winter when perhaps maybe the weather is getting worse, then it's not so much movement throughout the day. And whenever we wake up in the morning, there is a need for us to kickstart the movement going. And another reason is that as busy women, regardless of how many people are in a household with you, some days it's a bit like this. When you wake up, you might know that the moment you are out of bed, there's not going to be much time for yourself. So this is something that you can practice in bed as you wake up or just before going to bed in the evening. And this is something that I do pretty much most of my mornings when I wake up. So we're gonna have a back release, a hip release, and also some of the movements for the lymphatic system to kickstart that circulation and also promote the water retention reduction in the evening. So we're gonna start on our backs essentially. Imagine that I'm lying down in a bed. And then when you wake up in the morning or whether it's in the evening, so first one I would like to show you is the back release, and it works very, very simple. So you can have your knees bent, and knees can be either together or comfortable distance apart. And all we do is just dropping the knees side to side. So the knees could be together, the knees could be separate, but see if you'd like to maybe even roll a little bit more towards the side of the hip, so we have some tight muscles on the side, releasing through the back. If it feels more comfortable, you can do it with the knees closer towards the chest, just depending on which variation you would prefer. And then placing the feet back onto your bed or the mat, we are going to take one knee towards the chest, and then quite often I start with just even moving the ankles, so you start to bring circulation and the movement into your ankle joint, and then maybe placing the foot, the ankle onto the thigh. So you can keep, if you are in the bed, you can keep the foot onto the bed, on the mattress, or maybe lifting the opposite foot, and you can maybe bring the hands behind the knee or over the shin. It doesn't have to be static, you can roll side to side, and then doing the same thing on the other side. So first you bring the knee towards the chest, so that's really nice to promote already the circulation and in our joint. And then we're going to take the hip stretch. So if you have any issues sometimes with your low back or hip pain, sometimes sciatica, when you have a shooting pain down the leg, so this is one of the most essential stretches to do. And so these particular two stretches really good to do in the evening or in the morning. Now, a little bit more towards our lymphatic system. So I'm conscious that maybe my legs are not going to be fitting into the screen, but we start to extend the legs up, and just maybe you can just bend straight and being very, very mindful of how your back feels. And then keeping your legs extended again, maybe start to circle through the ankles, point and flex through the feet. Maybe doing a bit of a donkey kicks, so trying to hit the heel towards the leg, doing a bit of a crisscross. And I do just several movements now, but maybe I try to do about 10 on each side, depending on the time, depending on how you feel. Now, one of the best things to do for your digestive system is also you could lower one leg onto the ground and then sway one leg side to side. So we are promoting digestion. Works really, really well in the morning, and then you take the other leg. So your opposite leg can be either bent or you can straighten. It depends how you feel in your back. And then again, you can bring the legs back up. Knees can be bent, legs are straight, so just be mindful of the sensation behind the knees. And again, maybe you can take either crisscross or legs wider and together. And then one of my most favorite ones, and this one works essentially like as if you are squatting, but you are lying down on your back. So we're gonna crisscross, so one leg across the other, and we bend and straighten. So really good to stimulate the muscles, the front thigh muscles. You also have here open hips, external hip rotation. So really, really wonderful. Works it's dynamic flexibility of the hamstring. So many good things together. And then just repeat on the other sides again, crisscross. So we are engaging here the big muscles, the front thigh, the glutes. So all of them really stimulate the circulation for both of the blood as well as lymph. And then bringing again knees back to center. And I quite often elevate my sort of feet up. So you can have the knees a bit wider. So this is, we call it a lazy bug or a variation of a happy baby pose. And then you can also even add the arms. So start to move the arms as well as the legs. So that also helps to stimulate your lymphatic circulation through the arms. And maybe even add a bit of a shake. Might look slightly maybe silly, but I do it all the time. If you have people in the house, don't worry, I do that all the time in front of my kids, doesn't matter. And you know what? My mom has been doing these exercises as well since she was, I can't even remember how many years, but that's been really, really helpful for her. So just do it as much as possible. Sometimes you can even do a little bit of the, so imagine that you had any water retention, and then you can bring that from the top of the leg down into our lymphatic nodes into the thighs. And same thing, if you feel like you have a swelling in the arm, you can do the same thing for the arm. So imagine you're just trying to get any of that extra liquid away, and just as much gentle movement or slow movement. If it's in the evening, I would do it probably slowly. If it's in the morning, then feel like you want to wake yourself up a little bit. And even sometimes you can do vigorous movements like this, arms up and legs up. So you already are working the whole body without getting up yet. You're not even standing up from the bed. And then bringing yourself back to center. If you are about to go to sleep, I would start to slow down the movement first, taking any other stretches. It's always nice to bring the arms maybe overhead. You can slide one elbow towards the side, so for a bit of a side stretch here. And then when you're ready, just rolling onto one of the sides and come back up. And I would, especially whether it's morning or evening, in the evening you can do it lying down, and if it's in the morning, maybe just take a couple of shoulder rolls and take several mindful breaths. And I quite like, especially if it's morning, breathe in through the nose and then you exhale through the mouth. And just allowing yourself to just bring all of that energy that you generated into your day.